Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, thank you very much for coming, especially since games ran longer than today, so I know you must have hustled to get here, so thank you very much. So as you may know, I work along with my students at the University of Maryland on creating robots that play Quiz Bowl. And we've managed to take our show on the road in settings like this. We've defeated Ken Jennings. At last year's HSNCT, we beat a very strong team. It was a narrow victory, but we still beat a very strong team. And so given all this, you might think that, hey, we're really good at creating robots that play Quiz Bowl. And my thesis is that if you think that, you're wrong. And the reason that that's wrong is that people write Quiz Bowl questions not for computers, but for humans. And so as Quiz Bowl players, you know that questions are structured to be pyramidal, that there are hard clues at the beginning, and as you get further along into the question, they get easier and easier. But this is true for humans. We have humans writing questions for humans, and so the questions are getting easier with respect to humans. And up till now, there hasn't been a way to create questions that are specifically hard or pyramidal for computers. And this isn't just Quiz Bowl, this is a problem throughout all of machine learning and natural language processing. If you look at any of the data sets out there for doing question answering, they all share the same problem. They are written mostly by humans for humans, and they're not specifically designed to be challenging for computers. So to correct that, with a very enterprising undergraduate student from the University of Maryland, we created an interface that some of you wrote questions on. And so this allowed you to see what our question answering system, which we call Quanta, thought about the questions that you wrote. And so you were able to create questions that were specifically difficult for computers and were written pyramidally for computers. And this was really cool. We got over 600 questions, and we're hoping to get more. So if you're just hearing about this for the first time and you want to write some questions, please do. But since we're collecting the questions, it would be unfair if our own question answering system played on these questions. So our question answering system will not be playing on this stage tonight, but through the magic of the internet, the human team that we've assembled will be playing against a question answering robot from Japan, created by Ikuya Yamada and company. Their system is called Ozia. And so this, in my opinion, is the best question answering system in the world. It has soundly defeated our question answering system at previous international competitions. So I think this will be a very strong match tonight. And like I said, you wrote the questions. Some of the people in this room wrote the questions. And the good questions over time that we got, we sent over to Japan so that they could create better question answering systems based on the hints and the challenging questions that you wrote. And we didn't send all the questions, though. We saved the very best questions for tonight. So the very best questions that got submitted, we saved for tonight to be played here in front of you. So thank you very much to the folks at PACE for letting us come and play here tonight. We really appreciate their generosity in giving us the AV system and the space here tonight. So thank you very much to PACE. And we have prizes for people who wrote questions. That will be announced on HS Quiz Bowl on the forums, because there are a lot of prizes and I don't want to take any longer before we get to the match than we absolutely need to. But the other prize is that you are advancing science. And so as you write these questions, you are allowing us to create better question answering systems. So thank you very much for contributing to science and helping us build better systems. And if you want to write more questions, the system is still up. Please go to write.quanta.org and write some questions, send it in to us, and see how your questions do against Quanta. And if you, after seeing this match tonight, think that you can write a better question answering system, you can also download code at quanta.org, write your questions, as I said before, and play at a future match at the University of Maryland in December. Yes?
I don't know how to do this, but can we form off the orders and make changes?
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely accept pull requests and things like that. So you can definitely contribute to our system. Some people have also done that in the past, so we really appreciate that. We also, even if you're not a programmer, we need better documentation, so all of that is very much appreciated. All right, so what are we doing tonight? So we're going to first do 5 normal questions. So quiz bowl questions written by humans, Chris Droge, for humans. We'll do 5 of those questions. We'll see how well the computer system does on that as a warm-up so that the humans can get used to the buzzers and everything else. And then we're going to go into 40 toss-up only questions written for humans and computers that will be challenging to both. And no protests or anything like that. The moderator decision is final. No bonuses. Highest score after 40 questions wins. If we have a tie, we'll do a 3-question tiebreaker.
All right, let the match begin. Here are the humans that we've assembled from all over the country. First, we have Andrew Wang. Andrew is a current member of PACE who played for New Trier High School and the University of Illinois. Next, we have Bryn Douglas. Bryn was a member of the Chattahoochee academic team, William & Mary one, and the University of South Carolina teams, and is now a co-coach for the USC academic team with her husband, Eric. Dylan Minaric played college quiz bowl at Northwestern, where his career highlights include a national runner-up finish in 2017 and leading an exhibition team to victory over Quanah back in 2016. Jacob Myers. Jacob plays for Michigan State. He is the 2017 HSQB ranked Player of the Year, the 2018 ICT Leader in Powers, and is colloquially known as the Thrilla from Naperville. Tejas Rajay. Tejas has won both PACE, NSC, and ACF Nationals, despite the fact that his only discernible quiz bowl skill is remembering obscure NBA players from the 2000s. And lastly, we have Wesley Zhang. He's coming to us from San Diego and representing Canyon Crest Academy. Let the match begin.
All right, are we ready to begin? Yeah. All right, so let me adjust the microphone here. All right, toss-up number 1. John Drydas, an insane man who claimed to be Edward II, stirred up trouble when he seized this city's Beaumont Palace. The structure of the hippocampus was a central issue to a debate between Thomas Huxley and Samuel Wilber.
Oxford.
And that is correct. All right, toss-up number 2. A character in this novel eats ham and eggs 3 times a day because it is the only food that he knows. The main character of this novel gives names to clouds in a game played with her sister Ninny. This novel's narrator...
The House on Mango Street.
That is correct. All right, toss-up number 3. A public safety exclusion was added to the ruling in this Supreme Court case in New York v. Quarles, which concerned a man who discarded...
Miranda v. Arizona.
That is correct. Toss-up number 4. A particle that is experiencing friction in this phenomenon is undergoing an Ornstein-Uhlenbeck process. The Fokker-Planck equation describes the velocity...
Running motion.
That is correct.
Andrew? Correct?
Yeah, you don't need to be acknowledged, but if there's confusion, Dennis will. So that is correct. And the humans are on the board for the warm-up question. So toss-up number 5. This object appears in the back right of a painting that shows 5 workers moving grain around a water mill. This object is rendered in bright red and beneath a light smattering of clouds in the painting South Wind, Clear Sky. This object...
36 views of Mount Fuji.
That is correct. All right, and for our warm-up question, we had 40 for Studio Usia and 10 points for the humans.
Good job, humans.
Okay, all right, so that was our warm-up. So those were quote-unquote normal quiz bowl questions. And now we're going to go to questions specifically written to challenge computers. All right, so the score is reset, and we'll begin with toss-up number 1. A religious leader based in this country created the Final Testament, a translation of the Quran, and claimed to have found a code in the Quran based on the number 19. That religious leader...
Is this Iran?
-5. That religious leader was Rashad Khalifa, the founder of United Submitters International, a Quranist movement. During a pilgrimage to Mecca, a leader from this country took the name El Hajj Malik El Shabazz and wrote a letter describing pilgrims of all colors, from blue-eyed blondes to black-eyed Africans, which states that this country needs to understand Islam because this is the one religion that erases from its society the race problem. For 10 points, name this country where Noble Drew Alif founded the Moorish Science Temple and Wallace Fard Muhammad founded the Nation of Islam.
Sudan.
So no points. Toss-up number 2. In Hindu myth, Tumburu gave Yudhishthira 100 of these. Hernan Cortez used 15 to help defeat the Aztecs. Shakespeare has a desperate Richard III offer to trade his kingdom for one of these.
Who is that?
Player 3.
A horse?
That is correct. 10 points. Toss-up number 3. Gamblers of this profession appear in works titled The Alchemist and The Bet, respectively. One member of this profession is named Metzger and aids Oedipus Maas and Thomas Pynchon's The Crying of Lot.
Is this like a lawyer?
That is correct. 10 points. All right. Toss-up number 4. In this novel, a character is bothered by the big flies that keep landing on his face while speaking with a civil officer. At the end of this novel, the protagonist is cooled by the smells of night, earth, and salt air, contrasting with the beginning of the novel, where he is continually plagued by the heat. That scene occurs... Yep.
6.
The stranger.
That is correct. Toss-up number 5. This mathematical concept is demonstrated on the Galton board, where it determines the number of paths a ball can take to reach a peg. A fractal developed by Sierpinski can be created from this construct by only displaying its odd. Player 4.
Pascal's triangle. Pascal's triangle.
That is correct.
Okay, I see. That's exactly what it looks like.
All right, toss-up number 6. In this city, Alexander Calder's father sculpted the Swan Memorial Fountain. A memorial in this city honors the victims of a 2013 building collapse that killed 6 people at a Salvation Army location. In 2006, this city raised $68 million to keep Thomas Eakins, the growth clinic, in the city. Player 3.
Philadelphia.
That is correct. Toss-up number 7. Although Edwin Percy Whipple criticized the morbid intensity of this novel, George Eliot applauded it as one of the most ingenious and masterly...
The Scarlet Letter.
Nah, that is correct. Uzia is on the board.
I got roasted.
All right, toss-up number 8. This state is the birthplace of businessman T. Boone Pickens and a former... Player 4.
He's from Oklahoma.
That is correct. Toss-up number 9. An aircraft carrier bearing this man's name hosted the Mission Accomplished speech. A city named after this man was the site of the only unicameral state legislature. Player 3.
Abraham Lincoln.
That is correct. And Alzia answers bicameralism if you get to the end of this question.
Favorite state.
Toss-up number 10. Exactly. This artist's only landscape to depict a human is simply titled Campfire. Bill Alexander accused this artist of stealing his technique. In a hip-hop track, this artist tells Picasso to call me Jackson Pollock because I splatter MCs. In a cartoon portrayal, this artist threatens to cut you if you tell anyone that Bush is there. Statistical analysis of this artist's body of work shows that over 90% of their paintings contains at least one tree. According to this artist, he was the guy who makes you scrub the latrine, which led him to never yell or raise his voice again after leaving the Air Force. A wet-on-wet technique, soft voice, and happy little trees. Player 4. That is correct. Toss-up number 11. In 2016, Carrie Woolard and Joni Ernst were among the people who spoke at this event, which happens... Player 4.
The Republican National Convention.
That is correct. Toss-up number 12. These functional groups are produced by ring opening of epoxides. Lithium aluminum. Player 6.
Alcohols.
That is correct.
Good job.
Toss-up number 13. A play titled for these entities features a man who is often very careless with matches, as well as a character.
Is it ghosts?
It is. Toss-up number 14. In 1988, this song reached #1 on American Billboard, as well as topping more than 25 charts worldwide. The London-based music video directed by Simon West begins with the red-headed singer tapping his feet, which is then followed by him dancing in front of the mic. The song's lyrics attempt to tell his lover that he is thinking of a full commitment, saying,
No.
Okay, is it never gonna give you up?
yes, it is.
That's exactly what it is.
And toss-up number 15. Depending on where they occur, lesions caused by this disease can be given a focus named after Simon, Goen, or Reinke.
Necrosis.
-5.
My favorite disease.
All right. The rest of the question for the humans. The only vaccine currently available for this disease is the attenuated BCG strain. Because the causative agent of this disease has a particularly waxy capsule, an acid-fast strain must be used to identify it. About a third of all people are infected with the causative agent of this disease, which causes more deaths annually than any other infectious disease. For 10 points, name this disease caused by bacteria of the genus Mycobacterium. Player 4.
Consumption.
I will take that. Toss-up number 16. A journalist in this country, Rifat Ketin, was given a suspended prison sentence for comparing this country's president. Player 2.
Turkey?
That is correct. Toss-up. Number 17. In the prologue of one work written in this language, the speaker describes an object that moves men and women to tears. The Song of the Reed Flute was written in this language and serves as the prologue for the poetry collection Spiritual. Player 4.
Virgin.
That is correct. Toss-up number 18. Before becoming territorial governor for his only political experience, before becoming territorial governor, his only political experience was as a city council member in Nauvoo, Illinois. As territorial, player 3.
Brigham Young.
That is correct.
Yes.
Toss-up. Number 19. In earlier versions of Fortran, this data structure could only be allocated statically, so the largest possible size had to be used. It's not a hash table, but Bloom filters use this.
Array data structure.
That is correct.
This computer is sick of knowledge.
Toss-up number 20, after which we'll have a score check. This number is 150 less than the number of horses that rode into the Valley of Death. This, player 3.
150?
-5. This number is 150 more than the number of Spartans at Thermopylae. This number is 30 more than the number often associated with cannabis. For 10 points, what number is equivalent to 9 times 50?
The charge of the Light Brigade.
It was actually 16.
Yeah. That's fine.
All right, and at the half,
Scientists are baffled.
we have a score of 150 for the humans, 15 for the computer.
Good job, gang.
That is what 16.
All right, anybody's game, mathematically. All right, toss-up number 21. An E.E. Cummings poem about carrying one of these objects includes...
Is it a heart?
It is.
No, I just like Harry.
Toss-up number 22. John Boyndell wrote to Sir Joshua Reynolds that this painting was the greatest effort of art since the Sistine Chapel in the...
The death of Socrates.
All right.
Yeah, I
Toss-up
figured
number
this was
23. Opponents of this city's public transit system have called it a scheme.
Is this Atlanta?
It is.
Did you also read HSQB?
HSNCT knowledge. Toss-up number 24. Though this modern-day nation does not have a formal constitution, one main instrument in its formation was signed in 1603 following the death of a monarch who was sometimes called Gloriana. Player 2.
The UK.
That is correct. Toss-up number 25. In 2011, David Romo, the founder of a church dedicated to a deity depicted in this physical form, was arrested for involvement in a kidnapping ring. On the first day of every month, a rosary ceremony dedicated to that deity depicted in this physical form is held by Enriqueta Romero at a shrine in Tepito. Jose Guadalupe Posada depicted one of these things wearing a feathered hat known as the Catrina, which is a prominent symbol in a holiday that coincide.
Player 3.
Player 3.
Is this a skeleton?
It is.
Yeah, that's Mexican. That's a Mexican thing. Yeah.
Toss up.
Oh, that's the.
This man is the first word in the title. Let me start over. This is the first word in the title of a Faulkner novel containing the stories Wild Palms and Old Man. That title quotes Psalm 137, which is about the destruction of Jerusalem. According to Plutarch, this word was given as a laconic reply to Philip of Macedon. Player 3.
If.
That is correct. Toss-up number 27. Two paintings by Andy Thomas show members of this group of people playing cards and playing pool and are named Grand Old Gang and Calling the Blue, respectively. Player 3.
Presidents?
Prompt.
U.S. presidents?
That is correct.
That's a much better
I
answer.
thought it was dogs.
Yeah, that's a much better answer. This group of people. It's just dogs.
Toss-up. Number 28. In this election year, George Romney withdrew from the Republican primaries following comments that he was brainwashed. And supporters of Eugene McCarthy. Player 4.
1968.
That is correct. Toss-up. The Landau-Ramanujan constant is related to the number of integers which can be expressed as the sum of two of these numbers. A generalization of a problem involving sums of these numbers is known as Waring's problem. Player 4.
Perfect square. Same, but
Toss-up number 30. On The Critic, this man was replaced by a drunken animatronic bear from the Country Bear Jamboree, but nobody seemed to notice. This man was edited to appear in the film Contact, which prompted an angry statement from Mike McCurry. He was portrayed by Dennis Quaid in The Special Relationship, who ate McDonald's every day to prepare for the role. A fictionalized version of this man, named Henry Burton, a charismatic Southern governor running for the Democratic nomination, is played by John Travolta in Primary Colors. For 10 points, name this American president who played the saxophone on Player 4. That is correct. Toss-up number 31. An opera by a composer born in this country uses the mistreatment of two fallen angels as an allegory for human trafficking. In one opera set in this country, slave girls dance to a fantasia on green sleeves, reused from Das Frauengemasch, a movement of an earlier suite. That Busoni opera premiered on a double bill with his Alekino. The Russian sailors' dance appears in a ballet that takes place in this country. Guillerie's The Red Poppy. The most famous aria from an opera set in this country begins with the protagonist singing the title phrase on high D, then repeating it an octave lower. In that opera set in this country, a prince commands the stars to fade. Player 4. -5. The stars to fade before declaring Vincero in the aria Nessun Dorma. For 10 points, give the setting of Puccini's Turandot.
Spain.
Could not pick it up. Toss-up. In a follow-up to this poem, the speaker describes a miracle, bird, or golden handiwork, which will show scorn to all complexities of mire or blood. That creature is a reference to an item in this poem, which is of hammered gold and gold enameling. Player 4.
passionate shepherd to his love.
-5. Which will keep a drowsy emperor awake or saying of what is past or passing or to come. The speaker laments his mortality and wishes to be gathered into the artifice of eternity. For 10 points, name this poem about a journey to an ancient empire by W.B. Yeats.
Sailing to Byzantium.
All right, picked it up. Toss up, number 33. A political cartoon by an unknown artist from this event depicts two men in red coats dragging out its target.
Rum Rebellion.
That is correct.
I've seen that cartoon. So have I.
Toss up. The first plague epidemic in the continental United States was located in this city. In 1851, the Committee of Vigilance was formed. Player 3.
San Francisco.
That is correct. Toss up 35. The narrator of this novel claims that he likes it when somebody gets excited about something. It's nice. At another point in this novel, the same narrator states that when you're dead,
The Great Gatsby.
-5. They really fix you up. Despite that somewhat positive quip on death, the narrator of this novel expresses that he wishes time would stand still, much like the exhibits in a certain museum. That museum is New York City's Museum of Natural. Thank you. Player 1.
Catcher in the Rye.
That is correct.
Nice buzz, dude.
Toss up. This number is related to Euler's identity and is used as a sentinel value in software development to show that a variable contains no useful information. This number is used in programming languages to index the last or second to last item of an array, depending on player 1.
-1.
That is correct. Toss up. This university's origins can be traced back to 1856 when Senator Stephen A. Douglas offered a plot of land for the university. Player 2.
The University of Chicago.
That is correct. Toss-up. 90 years before the Bay of Pigs invasion, this man faced political pressure to intervene militarily in Cuba, but did not do so. This man and Harry Truman share a middle initial that doesn't stand for anything. This man, player 2. That is correct. And final, penultimate toss-up. According to his advisors, this man had multiple pillow fights with Leonard Wood while holding his highest office. Player 2.
Teddy Roosevelt.
That is correct. And toss up the last. The National Republican Senatorial Committee claimed that the then current senator from this state had communist sympathies in 1987. A recent gubernatorial candidate for this state notably was found not to have a driver's license, leading him to only winning 2 counties in this. Player 3.
He is from Ohio, though.
That is correct. And that is a game.
USA.
All right, congratulations, humans. You have demonstrated that computers do not know everything. And if you liked what you saw here, we'll be doing this again in the future, and hopefully computers can get better if people write questions designed specifically to challenge them.